Hello, I'm Paul Ayres, the Fifth Professional One, and I'm glad you joined me today to have another discussion topic that will help you maximize your margin, optimize your teams, and rescue your time. Today, I want to talk about the overuse, in my humble opinion, of the quick phrase, I feel. I think over time, especially in those that are 40 years old or less, I have noticed in very intense situations and when people are put on the spot where they'll insert, I feel like. And I want to talk about that a little bit today because, of course, this does not mean it's inappropriate, but I would like to explore some ideas regarding how we might be more effective in our communication and also maybe more persuasive in what we're trying to establish. An example recently in my experience is when I have young professionals come to me with a problem and offer up a solution. The solution, first of all, is a loan solution, which always makes things a little bit tougher when you are in a position to allocate resources. Why? Well, it's nice to have more than one alternative. But again, in this example, this young person came to me and said, I feel like this is the right way to go. I started a questioning approach where I wanted to validate what critical assumptions, things that need to be done, allocation of time and resources, overall expenditures, all those kind of things that we normally use to justify what we're trying to accomplish in terms of being able to approve the recommended action. What's very important is we have to focus on moving from feeling to thinking or feel to think. In fact, my opinion is that the majority of your effort in moving an initiative along, justifying your alternatives, finding more alternatives, should be a very rational, scientifically based effort. In fact, if we look at a continuum, if you will, from the beginning of our idea through the decision to go forward, if we can push the actual emotional components to maybe 2.5%, so in total they're 5% of the overall process and 95% goes to the actual science and validation, I think on average we can get much better results. So in our perfect world, our emotion gets us going, where 2.5% of our total effort has us off center. Then the next 95% of our effort is really focused on moving from I feel to I think. And when we're explaining things, we use terms like I think. I have validated the data that I analyzed, concluded that, and come up with very specific and verifiable information that helps us continue to a really good product. At the very end, we have the option to bring our emotion or our gut back in and use the term, I feel that this is the right way to go. That is now effective when you've done the rest of the hard work. Everything's teed up, it's been justified, and now you're ready to make a decision. That's when that phrase is actually very powerful, but not before the hard work is done. And I think all of the word choices are actually quite natural. For instance, at the beginning of something we're trying to figure out, we often have an emotional basis to our idea. We get excited, maybe we get fearful, maybe other emotions come into play, but we tend to start to move towards action with a decision. And as we know in much research out there in the world, moving to action, making decisions is largely based in emotion. So when we begin, we start from an emotional basis. And I think this generates a lot of the overuse of the phrase, I feel. What needs to happen for the vast majority is in the middle of the process, when we are moving from I feel to I think, what's happening is we are validating our assumptions and we're validating whatever move we want to make. Hopefully, we're looking for alternatives. Hopefully, we are taking our assumptions and trying to add as much fact to those assumptions as we can, or where we can add fact to assumptions and we need to operate on an assumption, we are alternatively adding tasks and effort with clear tactical thought in mind and what we can do to make those actual objectives, to make those actual assumptions come true in support of what we're trying to accomplish. So then we don't quite know what to do. And near the end of our decision process, I think the feeling comes back into play. That's where we hear about gut feel. That's where so much goes into a decision. But I think, especially with young professionals who are just showered with the term I feel and actually instructed to use it and get support because their peers use it, we tend to expand the amount of I feel more than it should be in the decision process. I believe emotions is what gets the decision processes going. And I think at the end, emotions through your gut feel actually can help you make that final call and move to action. Essentially, gut feel is in fact a sum of all our experiences and certainly a sum of the validation and hard work we've done through the process in justifying, in comparing, and therefore eliminating alternatives and ending up choosing the best one, including creating the plan of action to implement it. So I hope this little tip will help you. Next time you catch yourself saying, I feel, I invite you to actually think about, wait a minute, I should think about this. How can I personally move from I feel to I think? Eliminate emotions that can be counterproductive, that can set us up for dysfunctional communication based on a whole lot of things, and get us very clear in our thought about what we should do about going forward. I hope this has helped you. Again, when you are looking at various actions and you catch yourself saying, I feel, please take the time to transition to think and validate with good science and hard work the justification for the action you're about to take. With that, I hope you have an excellent week. It's time for me to get to work.